Hello everyone, a slightly under the weather Shroomraver here, and today I am proud to bring you the official announcement, unveiling if you will, of my team in the PPL, the Pokémon Premier League, Parasect Germain. Yes indeed. The drafting is over, and now it's getting into revealing the teams, and then there'll be a few weeks probably where people test them, and then the battles will begin. So, to kick things off, for those of you who don't know, what is the Pokémon Premier League? Well, since the sort of recent disbandment, as it were, of the GBA, Donphanatic, Jack, he sort of had a brainchild in a similar vein, but based around more the European style of football, the English Premier League. And this is the first season of that. It's become a reality. So, 12 of us sort of together, and all of them will be linked in the description. I'm going to go over the teams real quick, in draft order. So, first up, we have Fredford with Borussia Doublade. We have Erasmus with Miami Rotom Heat. We have Onesie Bayonet with Stealth Dino. Myself with Parasect Germain. Mighty Mamoswine, Nick with the Orlando City Cobalions. We have Slyro with, who is it? Pittsburgh Pyrrol, that's the one. Ellie is in with the Teddington Teddiursas. Then Raiquin has Nottingham Forest's Curse. Layson with the Philadelphia Flygons. Donphanatic with Tottenham Hotspur. Shardy with Bayern Munich. And Titos with Sports Lisbon Benfica. So, those are the teams. There were several sort of rules and things that we voted on as a league. I'm not going to go into them. If you want to see those rules, I would highly recommend checking out Donphanatic's one of these, his team video. He goes into great detail on the various votes, the polls that happened, the rules of what we're doing. He goes into great detail, explains it very well. I'll link that video in the description. Along with all the other links you might need if you want to keep up to date with this competition. But yeah, I highly recommend going and checking out that video. It'll tell you everything you need to know. All I will say is, we were to draft a team, a squad of between 8 and 11 Pokemon. We had a £100 million budget, and Pokemon were they were priced based on tier. So, Smogon tiers, that is. OU Pokemon, 15 million. UU Pokemon 10 million, RU 6 million, NU 4 million, and PU and below 2 million. Megas, they were priced individually. The majority were 20 million, some were below, and one in the form of Mega Pinsir was for 22 million. So, that is all the rules I'm going to go into explained. My thinking when it came to the draft. As you may know, I'm a low tier player. I'm not big in the upper tiers, and I thought I might be able to gain some kind of advantage by taking what I needed from the high tiers and then going straight to sort of mid to low tier. My plan was to get versatile bulk from the mid to low tiers that I was comfortable using and knew how to get the best out of. So basically my plan was get what I needed from OU, skip UU entirely, go to RU, raid it for bulk, and then take other things I was comfortable with, and maybe then, when it came to the last picks, when everyone was getting down to their last bits of money, was to go back up to OU, see what I needed to fill out the team, and take it from there. Unfortunately, the guy before me in the draft, Onesie Bayonet, I believe he had a similar idea, and he was well placed to take the few things that I really wanted, so I had to change up my ideas pretty quickly. So, let's get into the draft and see what happened. So, first up, I was 4th in the draft. What had gone already was Mega Mawile, Mega Lopunny, and what I desperately wanted, Mega Bayonet. That's what I wanted, but I couldn't have it because fucking Onesie took it from under my nose. So, I decided, well, when in doubt, go with big power. So, my first pick and the captain of Parasect Germain is Mega-Gallade. Mega-Gallade is a wonderful Pokemon for several reasons. It's in a great speed tier, at base 110 after Mega Evolving. It's got monumental attack, and really very good coverage. Mega-Gallade breaks cores. It really does. Like, people were quite worried about some of the bulky cores that have been selected. Ellie, with the Heatran Mega Venusaur core, Mega-Gallade beats it. Donphanatic has Empoleon, Umbreon and Cresselia. Under the right conditions, Mega-Gallade beats it. It can. And I have faith in Mega-Gallade. It's the Mega after Mega Bayonet, funnily enough, that I've used the most. So I am fairly comfortable using it, and I think it's going to put in a big old shift in this competition. So, second pick was the only Pokemon in OU that I really knew I wanted from the outset, and that is Gyarados. Gyarados has always been great, and it can do a whole range of things. It goes from everything from a set-up physical sweeper to a specially defensive wall. And it can do those things. Moxie and Intimidate are fantastic abilities, and it has the potential to do big damage to a lot of teams. It gets a nice support move pool with things like Taunt and T-Wave status moves. It can do that. And its physical offensive prowess is legendary, you know. There's a reason that it's always been consistently up in the higher tiers. Gyarados is a fantastic mon, and, you know, as I say, it was the only one from OU that I knew I wanted. So, coming into the Draft 3 pick, and people were already looking to UU, and UU is full of bulky water. So I wanted to get in there early to try and counteract the bulky waters that I was fairly certain were coming. And I also wanted to get some kind of hazard removal and maybe initiative gaining. And I wasn't initially going to stay in OU, but there was one Pokemon who did all those jobs, and that was Zapdos. So my third round draft was Zapdos. Zapdos I have been using in doubles, funnily enough. I've been trying to get into VGC a little bit, and Zapdos has kind of been a staple on a lot of my teams. So I went with Zapdos. I haven't used it in singles, but I feel like it's going to be pretty good. I know it's bulky, I know it's powerful, I know it's pretty fast. It can do the jobs I need it to, and the key word once again is versatility, and it has that in spades. It's got a lot of things it can do very well indeed, so I'm proud to have Zapdos on the team. So, getting into the sort of mid-round picks is when I started to go budget. I started to move down the tiers, and there was a core. There were two Pokemon that I could get for fairly cheap that I knew from the beginning I wanted. They were two of the three Pokemon that I knew I wanted along with Gyarados, and the first one is Reggie Steele. Reggie Steele has monumental defences, like we all know that. It doesn't have a lot of offensive prowess, but it's one of those mons that I've taken that doesn't need it. It is just bulk incarnate. It can run physical defense, it can run special defense. It's got hazards, it's got status. If I want to be a dick, I can paraflinch things. And that will be a last resort. But if I need to, that's something I can do. So Reggie Steele is the fourth pick. And coming in with the fifth pick was something that I've used along with Reggie Steele. Matches up fairly well with it, and is another one of those versatile mixed defensive things, and that is Uxie. Uxie, as you may know, is my favourite legendary Pokemon, and when it comes to competitive, it does so many things very well. Once again, it's got those mixed defences. It can run either physical or special, and it can tank hits for days. It also has access to U-turn and knockoff, as well as a plethora of supporting move pool moves, dual screens, stealth rock, heal bell, all kinds of hazards, yawn. It's got so many things it can do, and you know, I'm very comfortable using Uxie. I've used it a fair amount competitively. I know what it can do, and when it comes down to it, I think it's got base 75 special attack, which isn't exactly bad. I mean, if I wanted to run a calm mindset and bulk out attacks whilst hitting pretty hard after some boosts, I can do that. I can do that, and you never know, maybe I will. So, there is my fifth pick, coming into pick 6. Now, at this point, I was looking back to what I had wanted initially. The reason I wanted Mega Bayonet to start off with is because I like to have a nice solid Prankster user. I like to have that. It's a nice safety net. Prankster is one of the best abilities around, and it's a lovely safety net to have that. I couldn't take Mega Bayonet, and I'd also just lost out on another Pokemon I really wanted, which was Roserade, also taken by Onesie in Bayonet. So I'd missed out on the grass type I wanted, I'd missed out on the Prankster user I wanted, and I was worried that I didn't have a fairy. So the obvious choice that I suddenly saw coming out of nowhere was Whimsicott. Yes, I've gone with Whimsicott, and Whimsicott is a very fast Prankster user. It's got a massive, enormous support move pool. It can go offensive if needs be. The problem Whimsicott has is crippling 4 move slot syndrome. However, for every move I don't know whether to run or not on Whimsicott, that's a move that my opponents don't know if I am running or not. So, you know, it works both ways. I don't know what to run, they don't know what I've chosen. Whimsicott has an enormous move pool like that. All kinds of cheeky, nasty things that it can abuse Prankster with. Leech Seed, Stun Spore, Toxic, Sub, Encore, Taunt, Memento, Tailwind. Trick Room doesn't actually apply, but it does learn that as well. It's got a massive support move pool that I'm looking forward to abusing. And, you know, that Prankster Taunt is going to be really useful in a competition with a lot of bulk and a lot of potential for stalling things out. So, coming into the 7th draft round, I was starting to get a little bit worried that I didn't have a fire type. A lot of powerful ones had gone, and I was looking around to see what kind of things I could pick up. And I saw, chilling down in RU, we have Houndoom. And Houndoom is another thing, what have I been saying all along? Versatility. Houndoom can run special, it can run mixed. If you're a Maverick, you can run physical. It's got priority, it's got a fire immunity, and the psychic immunity. And it's going to be a nice weapon against very certain things. Jack, your Cresselia is not going to enjoy taking on my Houndoom. No, it is not. Houndoom can do all these things. It has a very powerful boosting move in the form of Nasty Plot, and really nice offensive stats, great speed, and I think it's going to put in a lot of work for me. I really do. Now, at this point in the draft, we took a break for the night because people needed to sleep and a few people were away. We came back the next day and I had a clear idea of who I wanted my next pick to be. I was really looking at Weezing because I wanted something that could shut down fighting types, that could burn things, and that could haze and get rid of the stat boosts. Unfortunately, Weezing went a few rounds before I could take it, so I was at a little bit of a loss. However, for 2 million, an absolute bargain, I picked up Dusclops. Dusclops is another Pokemon I've used a lot. It is another Pokemon that has brilliant defences, albeit with slightly lowered HP. And it has its advantages and its disadvantages over Weezing. You know, it's got that lowered HP, but it does have the better special defense. It doesn't have the poison typing, but it does have the ghost typing, which is very nice. It also gets access to Infestation, which is a fantastically fun move to annoy people with. The Infestation set with Toxic is very nice. It's got the Pain Split, it's got the Willow and the Haze, as I said before. And whilst it doesn't have a lot of offensive presence, it doesn't necessarily need it when you consider it has access to both Seismic Toss and Nightshade, which are going to be doing nice set damage, which is just going to be absolutely fine. Breaking a lot of subs if needs be. So, Dusclops coming in at draft number 8. Now, draft number 9. This is where I actually think I got a little bit hasty. And this is the only draft I'm slightly having second thoughts about. Because I went with Meloetta. Now, the reason I went with Meloetta, it's in RU. It has great value for what it is. I mean, it's a legendary in RU, you know? And it has massive special stats. The Assault Vest set is very difficult to kill. And it has a massive, varied, specially offensive move pool. My team does kind of invite the knockoff, and maybe getting Meloetta wasn't the best idea. However, it does of course have that potential to change up from normal Psychic to normal Fighting. And, you know, that's quite good. Once again, it's versatile. It basically becomes a whole new Pokemon in one turn. And I think that's going to be very useful. It might be able to catch people off guard. But, you know, we're going to have to follow Meloetta with interest, because we'll have to see how it does early on. Now, we come into the last 2 rounds of drafts. At this point, people are running out of money, but some are not. At this point, I had 20 million left. As I say, my plan was to go mid-range bulk for cheap, you know? And that's what I had done. It's what, for example, Wanzi had done, and I think one of the other teams had done it as well. I think Tito's had a fair amount of money left as well. What this meant when it came back to me is that I had the money to go OU again. And there was a Pokemon in OU that is going to be very important. And that is my 10th round pick, Bisharp. Bisharp, as we all know, is incredibly threatening. It has very nice dual stab in the form of Dark Steel. And whilst it's very weak to fighting, I have that down. I have a lot of fighting resistances, so I don't need to worry about that too much. Same with ground, same with fire. I'm safe choosing Bisharp for those reasons. Now, a lot of people have defog users. There's a couple of sticky webbers that have gone. And there's, of course, the ever-present Landorus Therian with that Intimidate. Bisharp is going to be very nice against those with that Defiant boost. Doesn't matter if it's Sticky Web because I've got Sucker Punch. It's got Priority, it's got Defiant, it's got Monumental Attack, and it's got very nice coverage. You know, Bisharp is a powerhouse that I was really happy to take in the 10th draft. And I'm quite glad because Wanzi was looking for Bisharp. He wanted it as well, and I managed to take it out from right under his nose to get back at those picks that he got that I really wanted. So, I then had 5 million left for my last pick. So, I was looking at the team thinking, what do I want? What do I need? What will round out my team nicely? And, you know, I had the thought, just as Ellie actually sort of recommended to me this Pokemon that was in my head, because what I was missing was, you know, Ice Stab, a Volt Switch immunity, and more priority. Mamoswine had already gone, but Piloswine was still there. For 2 million, my final draft pick, I picked up Piloswine. For the reasons outlined, you know, it's got that nice Volt Switch immunity, which is very nice to have. It's good to have something that can stop your opponent getting initiative. Obviously, ground types are the one thing to do that. So Piloswine had that going. It's fairly powerful, you know. It's got a nice powerful attack stat. It's nothing monumental, but it'll do. It's got the Ice Stab, and it's got the Ice Shard for priority. It's also got Thick Fat, which kind of mitigates those weaknesses a little bit. So I'm happy to take Piloswine. I think it's going to put in a nice shift, adding defense to an already defensive team. So, that is the draft. That is my team. That is the roster for Parasect Germain. So, what do you think, guys? You know, let me know what you think of my draft. Let me know down in the comments if you think I could have done anything better, if you think I've done well. I think it's going to be a really fun league. I am, you know, I'd be a fool not to be worried about anyone. I'm worried about everyone. Because everyone here, I either know is a good battler, or I have it on good authority is a good battler. So, you know, it's going to be good fun. I'm really, really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a fantastic season of some really great battles. My first battle, I will be up against Wanzi Bayonet. Alex, I'm going to be fighting him first up. He's got a really strong draft. He, again, went cheap early, saved a lot of money, and took some really powerful picks last up. His last 2 picks were Sylveon and Dragonite, which is just immense. Unbelievably good picks. But, you know, we're going to have to deal with that as it comes. Now comes the sort of period of team testing, which we're all going to be doing. And, you know, the battles I think will be starting in maybe a couple of weeks. But, the link to the Pokemon Premier League Twitter will be down in the description. Go follow that if you want to keep up to date with what's happening. Everyone's links, they will also be down in the description. Once again, I do encourage you to check out each and every single one of the people involved, because they're all fantastic people. They're great fun to sort of just hang out with on Skype and stuff, and they're great battlers in their own right. So, that is going to be it from me for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Support Parasect Germain, we're gonna do well. And I guess with that, I will see you all next time. Laters.